Yo, guys, I hope you're all well. So, yesterday, Sir Keir Starmer hosted the third COBRA meeting within a week after the riots of the last few days, people. And they came to the conclusion and they announced that Britain is still on high alert because there is still the fear and threat of more thuggery, as they say, to come in the next few days. So, guys, I just wanted to take a quick look at what is COBRA, who is COBRA, what does it stand for, and why are they having these meetings. So, guys, let's get into it. Okay, so like me, many may wonder what COBRA is and what it does. And perhaps many of you have only heard of COBRA before this week, the period around the pandemic. Okay, so COBRA is an acronym and it stands for the Cabinet Office Briefing Room A. And the COBRA meetings are called normally in times of emergency or civil unrest, as we've experienced in the last week. So COBRA meetings are meant to combine and coordinate all of the departments and agencies which handle the crisis, whatever that might be. So if it's civil unrest, if it's flooding, if it's anything else like the pandemic, you'll have different agencies who are taking responsibility and taking care of different parts of whatever the unrest or the flooding or the pandemic or whatever is going on is happening. But what the COBRA is supposed to do is to coordinate and to get everyone in a room together to talk through what the situation is, to discuss and to make decisions. It's all about decision making. And once they've done the decision making around that, they may well advise and then potentially inform the public on those decisions. Sometimes they may keep them to themselves and we won't know what they've talked about. So we'll never really know what the COBRA committee meetings talk about. We won't know the itinerary, but we may well be told in due course on the outcome of those meetings. And what I didn't include on the COBRA meetings is that as well as combining and coordinating all of the departments and the agencies people in any times of crisis and emergency, they also will have the emergency services and the security services. And they will be involved at a local, national, and also departmental level. So ministers will normally meet and ensure that the government response and key decisions and updates are, as I said before, coordinated and decisions made, and if necessary, announced to the public. Just as we've heard in the last day that Britain is still on high alert. Okay, so COBRA meetings, they mobilise many parts of the government and they usually do not happen that often. So my question, people, is why has Sir Keir Starmer organised a third meeting within the last few days? And this meeting occurred the day after the non-event of the so-called right-wing thuggery that was supposed to happen. We had a very peaceful night and there was little to no demonstrations or trouble at all. But on the back of that, Sir Keir Starmer announced a third COBRA meeting. Okay, so guys, could this be that Sir Keir is trying to give the impression that he is a strong leader? Or is this meeting just having a meeting for meeting's sake? Just to be seen to be doing something on the back of, in my opinion, having egg all over their faces the night before. So that was the morning after the night before. So nothing happened that evening. So Sir Keir Starmer organised a third COBRA meeting. And to mobilise these meetings takes a lot of manpower, hours, organising, etc., etc. So these meetings shouldn't happen willy-nilly. They should happen for a reason. But I might be wrong with this, people. I might be wrong. So I think the last thing I was going to say about this with the COBRA meeting, people, is, and I've written this down. So what I wrote down here, people, was potentially, was this third COBRA meeting to discuss and to find out reasons on how wide of the mark that the intelligence was? Because the intel that was going around the other day was that there were potentially 30, 50, even up to 100 separate demonstrations, right wing, this, that, and the third, whatever. And this was from police intelligence people. So how did they get it so wrong? Now, was Sir Keir Starmer literally asking the police, how did you get it so wrong? What was your intelligence? Where did you get it from? How was it derived? And how was it so wrong? Maybe that was the reason for the meeting, people. I don't know. I don't know. So guys, it could have been a face-saving exercise. As I said before, the government was left with egg all over its face. But I do know one thing, people. This is what I'll finish with. When you have these meetings, they will look at them under the form of SWOT. So SWOT, people, means strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So for instance, yes, it makes sense when you have a COBRA meeting, you're looking at the threat, the immediate threat, and then the other levels of threat that could potentially happen. But you're also looking at opportunity, people. And trust me, the opportunity that I'm thinking, and I hope I'm not giving these people ideas, is, because I saw it and I've seen it over the last while, is the opportunity for them to introduce facial recognition. And if they start to introduce facial recognition, what does that mean for our civil liberties, people? What does that mean for our data protection? So for instance, you're walking down the street, you've got nothing criminal in your mind doing, you're just walking down the street, they're capturing your face and your likeness and feeding it into a database. And don't get it twisted, people, because the database that you'll get fed into, and I don't know this for a fact, so I'm just surmising, people, our face will be linked to our faces on our passports. Trust me on that. So are they storing our information? And to be honest, if they are, it's against our will, because I haven't signed up for my facial recognition to be stored anywhere. Are they harvesting our recognition? This is really important, and it's an important question to ask as well. So I understand people, on the one hand, they'll say, this is great because we've got people that we're looking for, they're on a database, the facial recognition will help us to identify and to find whoever this person is. But what I want to know, people, is what are they doing? They'll capture 1,000 faces to catch one person. So those 999 other faces, are they kept? Are they deleted? What happens to those people? That's the thing I'm trying to find out about, people, and that's what worries me. So when you have these meetings, you will also always look at strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So one of the reasons for you look at the threat scenario around things, but where issues occur, where risks occur, etc., there is always opportunity. So what are the opportunities they're looking at for these crises that are happening? So for instance, a crisis will happen around flooding, it will happen around excessive heat, etc. People die from heat stroke, this, that, and everything else. They will monitor, they will look at cat figures, they'll assess, they'll analyse, and they'll look at both the good and the bad, people. So just be aware of this, and maybe ask the question from your local MP, etc., because laws can be introduced temporarily, but once they get introduced temporarily, it is very hard to roll them back and to rescind them. So just be aware of this, people. So this is just my quick opinion around COBRA. And it will be good for you guys to just keep your eyes and your ears open and just to keep asking questions. Remember, people, do everything within the legal and judicial, hopefully you're not involved in that, the legal framework. Don't do anything that will put yourself in danger. I don't think there's any issue with asking questions, particularly around our data. So for instance, if you're walking down the street and the camera is capturing your likeness, I think you have a right to ask what is going to happen to my likeness. If you're a criminal and you're on a database already, that's fair enough, etc. But there are many law-abiding citizens who will be worried about what is happening to harvesting our data Very worried indeed, people. Anyway, guys, make sure you look after yourselves, you look after each other. And guys, we're coming up to the weekend, so hope you have a great weekend. Have a restful and a peaceful weekend. And guys, make certain to come back to the next Urb'n Barz reaction, guys.